In this video, we look at how you can take just 2 notes and through a series of practical steps and creative choices, transform those 2 notes into a complete song. And we've created this video using selected scenes and highlights from our brand new online course, The Songwriting Process Start to Finish. A course that takes you step by step through not just 1, but 2 professional songwriting methods. One that begins with lyrics first, the other beginning with a musical idea. And we've created this course in response to the many people who reached out to us and expressed a real desire to see the songwriting process broken down from beginning to end. So if you're interested, please check it out. The link is below. Now, let's look at how you can transform just 2 notes into a complete song. I was sitting by myself, guitar in hand, and I was just noodling, with some little, just that sort of stuff. Nothing concrete, no firm idea of what I want to do. What emerged was this little 2-note motif, which is this. That little movement between those 2 notes, I, for some reason, started playing to a particular rhythm, which is this. That was it. The most logical way to move any kind of melodic idea to begin with is through the scale.
So now that you have extended that first little motivic idea into a longer melodic phrase, what happened next?
One of the things I started doing was just humming it, especially this part. And at that point, I was trying to get it into my mouth and into my head and start to play around with it like it was a vocal melody. So that was really the next step.
Transform it into a vocal melody.
Yeah. Take it away from the guitar so it didn't just get stuck there being another little instrumental idea. Get it into a vocal kind of idea so that then I could start attaching perhaps some lyrics to it. I was on holiday with my wife's family and we were having one of those average, kitchen table conversations. And someone said, that's really it, isn't it? That's the heart of the matter. So let's get straight to the heart of the matter. So now we're onto a step where we've got this phrase and the phrase has been put into the melody, really. I've made the phrase fit with this melodic idea that we started with. I had to still find lyrics. So let's get straight to the heart of the matter. Nothing matters more than time or what is left of it and who we choose to spend it with. I hope you agree. So that was me attempting to, start getting a story to emerge, start getting a handle on what this story really was by taking the melodic idea, getting the phrase, putting them together in the same rhythm, and then deciding that it was going to be about this particular theme of time and how we spend time.
So what do you do next?
Well, I had a problem. I actually had a problem. I'd put "so let's get straight to the heart of the matter" in there because it worked with the rhythm. The "so" was a problem because it felt like I'd just said something and now I'm saying "so, let's talk about this." And this is one of those beautiful moments where you're going along and it's all going along in a particular order. But the order you write things doesn't need to be the order that they stay in your song form. And just because you wrote it first does not mean it goes first. And I was now in this position where I felt very much like I had written something that I was trying to put in the first verse position, but it wasn't working for me as a first verse. It didn't feel right.
Just because you wrote it first doesn't make it the first verse. Songwriting is not actually necessarily a linear process.
So what I did was I moved that to the second verse position. I moved what I had just written into second verse position and I asked myself the question, what would I like to say now as the opening of this song that will lead us to that moment, that will, make that moment make sense in the song?
Well, it's been said that the heart starts out knowing when its final repetition's gonna come. Then it's done, turn the lights out, nothing more here to see. So let's get straight to the heart of the matter. Nothing matters more than time or what is left of it and who we choose to spend it with.
So how did you find the lyrics for the first verse, or what is now the first verse?
Well, once I decided that I needed an introduction into the song, I really had to go hunting again for, what was it I was trying to say? And it was at that moment that I remembered again another piece of stimulus, which was a podcast I'd been listening to on the drive up. And this is so wonderful when this kind of thing happens, because you don't ever realize you're listening to something that's going to end up being in your song. And they were talking about this idea that medically, what if the heart had a finite number of beats? You're born, it's a muscle, it's encoded with, this many beats throughout a lifetime. When I was then hunting for this way into the song, it became the thing that made sense. It's been said that the heart starts out knowing when its final repetition's going to come. And I love this idea of talking about the heart literally as a mechanical, physical thing, and then moving into, so let's get straight to the heart of the matter. So again, moving from a literal interpretation of the heart to a metaphorical interpretation of the heart. So I had my verse in place, which means I had to find a chorus. That was my next job. I was now in this position where it felt like music and lyrics were equally part of the equation. They were both in there working together. I had the heart of the matter phrase. I had time as a theme. And I had this image that I had kicked the whole song off with about the heart having a finite number before it all ended. Mm-hmm. And I think it was that first verse that then led to this idea of the time bomb, that the heart is a time bomb. That word time bomb, when I thought about it, felt absolutely right as the chorus, as the opening of the chorus, and the title.
And I think a really important principle to extract here that is usable in any one song is the idea that as you are approaching the concept of the chorus, this central moment, the centerpiece of your song, that you're looking for a title. You're looking for a central image, phrase, or combination of words that is going narrower, it's going deeper, it's trying to get to the most specific place, the most specific image, feeling, or idea.
Yes.
And that thing is also tightly connected to the imagery that you've already created.
You see, I think you're the one for me. I got a time bomb ticking in my chest. You got one in yours. Shame there ain't no pause button on it. A time bomb ticking over slow. Don't know when it's gonna blow, but there's one thing that I do know. I got a time bomb ticking in my chest. You've got one in yours. Shame there ain't no pause button on it. Time bomb ticking over slow. Don't know when it's gonna blow, but there's one thing that I do know. Every beat
So we already talked about the lyrical idea. We've got the time bomb ticking in my chest. So a lot of the lyrics are an expansion of that title.
Yep.
Let's talk about the musical decisions.
Yep.
So what are the principles underlying your choices that you made there with your chorus?
For the chorus, the only thing I was thinking about was contrasts. How much contrast could I create between the chorus and the verse sections? Because I was writing a verse-chorus form, I had this opportunity to make the difference between the two sections, the verse and the chorus, really big and really noticeable. So now we have the verse and the chorus in place. And we've decided that the form is going to be verse-chorus, which means now that I've done all of this work to really decide, what my theme was, this idea of time and how we spend it. Now that I had some language that I was using consistently, the heart, both literally and metaphorically, and I had my title and my chorus, which was locked in with the title Time Bomb. That felt like I had everything I needed to now move forward into the rest of the song and really finish it off well.
Well, I've been known to obsess over matters of the existential kind, don't we all? But no more, gonna focus on the things I can see. So let's get straight to the heart of the matter. Nothing matters more than loving who we give it to. I'm hoping you believe it's true, and if you agree, you might consider loving me.
Now we're talking about obsession and existential worries and other things that were really, playing into the drama of this story. And the second half of this verse then goes back to the format, so let's get straight to the heart of the matter. This time, instead of talking about time, we're talking about love. So for me, so let's get straight to the heart of the matter. Nothing matters more than love. Felt like a beautiful little ramping up of, sure, we've talked about time and time was our theme, but now we've moved on to the really good stuff. We're talking really about love and who you love and how you love them, and that being the part that really matters. So that was my way of trying to use a little repetition to also ramp things up.
And it's really a love song.
It's really a love song.
Oh, Betty.
We've heard two verses, or two halves of verse 1 and a chorus, two halves of verse 2 and a chorus, which means that the listener has heard both sections at least twice. This becomes one of those beautiful moments to say, time for something new. And for me, the songwriting process is very much about, I don't want to give anyone too much of the same thing for too long because the ear gets tired. The ear is craving something new. So for me, this felt like a perfect moment. Again, thinking about the form, this felt like a perfect moment to say, what about a bridge to create contrast? What about a solo? Again, is something new. I could have changed key or modulated. And I went with the bridge.
Every beat I have left is gonna be for you. Put your hand on my heart and then you'll see it's true. Every beat I have left is gonna be for you. Put your hand on my heart and then you'll see it's true. Every beat I have left is gonna be for you. Put your hand on my heart and then you'll see it's true. Every beat I have left is gonna be for you. It's gonna be for you. I got a time bomb ticking in my chest. You've got one in yours. Shame there ain't no pause button on it. Time bomb ticking over slow. Don't know when it's gonna blow, but there's one thing that I do know. I got a time bomb ticking in my chest. You've got one in yours. Shame there ain't no pause button on it. Time bomb ticking over slow. Don't know when it's gonna blow, but there's one thing that I do know. I got a time bomb. You've got one in yours. Time bomb. I got a time bomb ticking in my chest. You've got one in yours. Shame there ain't no pause button on it. Time bomb ticking over slow. Don't know when it's gonna blow. There's one thing that I do know. Every beat I have left is gonna be for you.
So that's how you can write a song starting with a musical idea, even if it's just a very small little melody, and expand it and take it through an entire process so that you end up with a finished song.
So key takeaways from this songwriting process. Get the melody off your instrument and into your voice as soon as you can.
Don't rush to just fill in any old lyrics. Just because you start with music first doesn't mean you're not still looking for a great story to tell.
Just because you wrote it first doesn't make it the first verse.
Look for opportunities to create contrast between the sections in your song, using perhaps dynamics, chord changes, direction of melody, or vocal register.
Find the title at your earliest possible convenience, and remember, great songs are about one idea.
And finally, when you're writing your second verse and writing the rest of the song, look to raise the stakes.